We must protect this house.
Alright guys, this is Brian from Home Field Advantage. I'm sitting here getting ready to watch the Titans-Cowboys preseason game in the new stadium. The new stadium looks amazing. I thought it'd be a good time to do my NFC East previews. I'm going to tell you guys what I think their records are going to be, their key losses, their key additions, stuff like that. I'm going to start off with the Cowboys, of course. Dallas Cowboys, they lost Terrell Owens, Roy Williams, the safety, Anthony Henry, Chris Canty, Zach Thomas, Brad Johnson, just to name a few. But they went out this season, and we had a decent free agency market. We now got Keith Brooking. He's had solid numbers in Atlanta. Igor Orshansky on the defensive line. And Gerald Sensabaugh from Jaguars, who evidently a lot of Jaguars fans were kind of upset when Jacksonville let him go. So evidently he's going to be missed there. Hopefully it works to our advantage. He looked good in the preseason game. But I have them going 11-5. I should probably go ahead and say every team in the NFC East, I have them going 1-1 against every other team in the division, because this is the toughest division to win in this year in the NFL. This is a tough division. NFC South, no. Tampa Bay's kind of faded off. Of course, you still got Atlanta. Atlanta's coming up. Carolina's and the Saints have a great offense, but they lack in the defense. So, this NFC East is the toughest division. So I'm having them going 1-1 against each other in their division. But 11-5 for the Cowboys. Alright, moving on to the Giants. The key losses. Of course, they lost their main number one wide receiver in Plaxico Burress. They lost their running back, Derek Ward. They lost Sam Madison and Sammy Knight. And they lost Reuben Jones. So they lost two running backs and two defensive backs. And then one wide receiver. So, things weren't looking too good. Offseason came around. They went out and got Rocky Bernard for defensive tackle. Michael Boley at the linebacker position. They went out and got Chris Canty from the Dallas Cowboys. They picked up wide receiver Akeem Nicks out of North Carolina. So, they're still a legitimate team. There's no doubt about that. Obviously, I had to give them the top spot in the NFC East, but I didn't want to. I gave them a 12-4. The Giants are the only team in the NFC East I actually gave a legitimate chance of beating Washington for beating the Redskins twice. So they're 12-4. Their only losses are Dallas, Philly, Minnesota, and San Diego. Moving on to the Eagles. Of course, they lost their leader on the defensive side in Brian Dawkins. They also lost Lito Shepherd. They lost offensive tackle Trey Thomas. Their tight end, one of Donovan McNabb's main targets, L.J. Smith. And they lost their backup running back in Coral Buckhalter. Not looking good for the Eagles. And then they went out and had a great offseason. They got Jason Peters and Stacey Andrews as the offensive tackles. They went out and got Ellis Hobbs at the cornerback position. They drafted wide receiver Jeremy Maclin to add to their already more than decent wide receiving core. And they drafted LaShawn McCoy for a backup to Brian Dawkins, who was every season injury prone. And of course, as many of you already know, they picked up Michael Vick. He won't be able to play until like week 6 or maybe a little sooner, depending on Roger Goodell. But this offense is going to be a monster to deal with. I don't know how the defense is going to do. They have a great defense, but losing Brian Dawkins is a big deal. So how they're going to use Ellis Hobbs with the loss of Brian Dawkins and Lito Shepherd, we're going to have to see. But I gave them the 10-6. I would have given them a better record with Donovan McNabb and Michael Vick. I see the Wildcat using them both. I see them making mistakes. One too many mistakes in a game to lose. And I have them losing to New Orleans, San Diego, and even Chicago, just because Chicago has a great defense, as well as Dallas, New York, and Washington at least once. On to the Washington Redskins. They lost cornerback Sean Springs, linebacker Marcus Washington, and offensive guard Pete Kendall. Not that big of a deal. At that point they're kind of the same team they were last year. With a couple losses, but what they added to their team might just make the difference. You got defensive tackle Albert Hainsworth, probably the best defensive lineman last season. They already have a great defensive line, but you put him in the middle. You put Albert Hainsworth in the middle, he's going to do some damage to the opposing offensive line. They got Derek Dockery on the offensive side of the ball. And they drafted one of the best defensive ends in the college draft this past season, and Brian Arakpo out of UT. So they've got there's a great D-line, and that's what wins football games. Unfortunately, I gave them an 8-8. Like I said, New York beats them twice, Dallas beats them once, Philly beats them once. I also have Carolina beating them, Atlanta beating them, New Orleans beating them. So I think an 8 is fair. They can do better. It's very possible, but with Jason Campbell, the offense just, Santana Moss he's on his downward slope. He's already hit his peak as a wide receiver. I mean, he can stay the same as he's been in past years. But Jason Campbell, that's the weak link. You're only as strong as your weakest link, and is the weak link on that offense. If he can turn himself into a poised quarterback, this team could go far, but I just don't see it happening this season. Alright guys, so you heard what I said. New York Giants are going to go 12-4. Dallas is going to go 11-5. The Eagles are going to go 10-6, and then the Washington Redskins are going to come in at 8-8 or 9-7 at best. Alright, stay tuned. Of course, it's going to be 7 more videos just like this on all the other divisions. And thanks for tuning in. Leave a comment down if you disagree, agree, had different thoughts. Leave a video response, send me a message, whatever you want to do. And if you want to see the other videos, of course, subscribe. Alright guys, later. Go Cowboys!